Hey, it's your old pal Steve Areno Cool Kits, 5th Louisiana Infantry, Captain J.G. Angell, Part 2, Take 1. Boom! All right, we're back, and well, let's see, what was I thinking about? Well, we finished up track and field season, so I took a little bit of a departure there. We had a great season. Had about 85 kids out for track and field. Most of them were sprinters. I coached the sprint, hurdle, horizontal jump squad, as well as the vertical jumps, the high jump primarily at our school. 37 boys and girls sprinters. Hey, what can I say? 29 of them multiple PR'd. I had revamped my program that I'd used and developed over the last 12 years. I took a class over the last year. It's a science-based sprinting course, and it was so compelling. I just rewrote my entire program, and the proof's in the pudding. The kids did great. Couldn't ask for any better. I mean, some people were dropping 1.7 seconds in the 100, 2.5 in the 200, 4 seconds to 5 seconds in the 400, which is remarkable times because at that stage, without going too far into it, those are pretty big drops that you don't usually see. But anyway, enough about that. Just that took some time away, and it's like it builds to a crescendo, and then it's all over and done. And so now get back to my own stuff, which is all my different hobbies I have all over the place. One of which is, of course, Civil War, and I can continue on with the development and research around Captain J.G. Angell of the 5th Louisiana Infantry. So let me get my thinking hat out of the way, and I'll talk about a couple things that I had alluded to earlier. But you don't see a lot of people go into it, so I thought I would explain it. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, so one of the things is, once upon a time I saw an article on how to build these different boxes, and as I've alluded to before, the soldiers all had to make do with what they could carry and or find, and they would find these ammo boxes, and then they would make everything from bookcases to whatever, tables and shelves and things like that in winter quarters. This is one that sometime in the past when I figured out how you build these things, and they're all made with hand tools, and they're all painted a certain way, and you can get stencils and everything. You don't make them out of even modern sized lumber. You have to go back and get lumber. Again, this is all under the category of trying to be authentic. So I realize that right away you're going, man, it's a lot of work, but it is if you want to be authentic. And if you don't do it, it just bugs the heck out of you. Like when you see people do stuff that, why didn't they just do it right? So you build a box, and it's all with cut nails, and it's painted a certain way, stenciled a certain way, and it's got these really elaborate joints here, dovetailed, I think is what they call them. They're like fingers, like one way and then skip, and another way and skip, like that. And it's fitted together. It's done with cut nails, and then it's painted obviously inside white, and then it's painted various colors on the outside according to the caliber of ammunition. But anyway, when you have a box, then you can start doing interesting things with it. And I turned this one into my field desk. And what I wanted to talk about is, I mentioned in an earlier video where I talked about being a sergeant major, is you got to know what to do. And one way, there's a couple ways you can figure out what to do in terms of moving as a unit, individual soldier or company or battalion or brigade. And there's first thing you got to figure out is, which are you? Okay, if you're a militia and you're on the Union side, if you're federal regular troops, or if you're on the Southern side, which are you, and which manual are you going to use? So on the Union side, even though the authors of these two manuals, Casey's and Hardy's, had been in the regular U.S. Army before the Civil War, and they wrote these manuals. After the war broke out, they went to certain sides. However, their manuals continue to be adopted. So even though you're looking at these colors and you're going, oh, well, the one on your left hand must be Confederate, and the one on your right hand be blue, must be Union. No, it's not. Okay, so Casey's ended up being adopted by the Union pretty uniformly. And then on the Southern side, they ended up going to Hardy's, okay? Now, there was another manual, and the only reason I have this is is the Louisiana troops, some of them, many of them, and the one that I belonged to early on, which is the 1st Louisiana Special Battalion, Wheat's Tigers. They used this manual, which is called Gillam's Manual for Volunteers and Militia. So these two, like I said, this one because I used it with Tigers, and this one is because the 5th Louisiana and other Southern troops would have used it, which is Hardee's. Okay, and it was originally written for the Mississippi rifled musket, and it was later revised for the longer firing tube weapon, which we talked about before. Principally on the southern side would be the infield, which could accommodate a bayonet. All right, so I wanted to mention that. And then if I can bring it up here close, you'll see that what it's talking about, and where's my venerable pointer? There it is. Okay, what it's talking about over here is that this is for riflemen and light infantry, and it includes the school of the soldier, that's the individual, and the school of the company. Okay, and then it tells you who wrote this. Okay, so there is the extent of the material you'll find covered, the individual and the company. Now, this one over here, you'll see is more exhaustive and extensive. It is the soldier, company. It's got line of skirmishers, a battalion, and a brigade. Okay, so it covers a larger, it can cover up to a larger group of assembled fighting men. Okay, and this one, this is pretty exhaustive for both the individual soldier and the company and the brigade. Okay. Now, just because I have it here, we ended up using this in the club to which I belonged, and it was written for a group that was out here in the Pacific, and it was written by Dominic DeBello, and we called it PI, Parade, Inspection, and Evolution Infantry Battalion. So this is what we used to move multiple companies around that had been assembled into a battalion. All right, and there's a certain way that you come onto the line and you move different companies relative to each other or all together. And even to get companies marching down the road in a stack column of companies, there's certain things you have to do that are above and beyond what you do as just marching a company to get it online. All right, a lot of words I just said there, but all that stuff is what you have to read and know in order to participate in reenacting, and you might find it interesting, or you might say, that's just too much for me. I just want to be a private and have other people tell me what to do, and that's fine too. You know, go over here, stand over here, you're a 1, you're a 2, step up, move up. You'll hear that a lot. Step up on the line, wheel, right face, step off with your left foot, all that kind of stuff. 1, 2, 1, 2. That's fine. And, if that's where you want to be because you just want to participate and have a good time in camp and, be out on the field and fire your musket, then that's all good. But if you expect to move up the ranks and be a, 3rd, 2nd, 1st corporal, and then even go on to 3rd, 2nd, 1st sergeant, or even, be an officer, then you're going to have to, crack the covers and learn how to do this stuff and instruct this stuff and instruct the non-commissioned officers who are instructing the enlisted men to do this stuff. Okay, so a little bit about that, and be a nice guy while you're doing it all, and don't lose your temper and don't yell at people. Just be nice, because everybody's a volunteer, everybody's a hobbyist, everybody's just out here trying to have a good time. Oh, you like that? Let me bring that back. So there's my coffee. This is a really nice cup that's being offered by, Southern Union Mills. I think it's hot dip tin cup. It's off the steamship Beatrand. And I meant to buy one, but I accidentally didn't watch, and I purchased 2. So I got 2 of these things now. So I guess 1 to keep, 1 to lose. But they're great cups. A lot of fun. Yeah, my go juice. Okay. So now I was thinking about, we're always trying to answer this question, what's the motivation to be involved in the Civil War? And so I stumbled upon, now that school's out and track's done and I can spend time on my own, I found this really awesome online course offered by Columbia University. And it's going to take about 14 months, they say, to complete it. It's a university level course from a top line university taught by a really great Professor Foner, and he's written, a number of books on the Civil War, and he's a Pulitzer Prize winner in the whole 9 yards. So the course is very, very nicely organized. But what did I want to say? I wanted to say that, this question about what is it about the Civil War that gets, speaks to some people and gets them so jazzed. Well, guess what? I found some words to support my thoughts. So it was Walt Whitman. There's a guy who could express things in words much, much better than me. But here's what he said. He said, the real war will never get into books. That's true. And that's part of the reason I study it from all these different sides, like a diamond. The real war was not military strategy, battlefield tactics, and great battles. Instead, it was the valor and suffering, the passion and doubt of ordinary Americans, not just the rank and file soldiers, but civilians on the home front as well. That's true. It was the minutiae of deeds and passions with the official surface of the war. Okay, and that's true. So vast in its sweep, it involves so many Americans in so many ways. Our knowledge increases every year in important ways, yet somehow it remains elusive to us. That's it on the nail head right there. As much as I've read and studied and keep reading and keep studying, it's kind of elusive. The Civil War was the most important event in American history. Hard to argue with, though many people will. No other event has had such a powerful hold on popular imagination as the Civil War. That, I think, is very true. And, well, it's true for me anyway, and it's part of what keeps me going. In my study around it, it's an American epic. End of story. Boom. QED. So that's it for me. Is that it's all that and more, maybe less, but it's a very sweeping drama, and I just enjoy studying it. And the more I learn, the more questions I get, and I have to go back and develop more answers. And I'm just enjoying the first week or so taking this online course through edX. It's not an endorsement, it's just telling you what I'm doing with Columbia University on Civil War and Reconstruction. And a lot of really, it gets into the whole economy, and it's just all these dimensions. So if you are a like-minded person or curious at all, and you've got some extra time, which that to me, I remember thinking much earlier in my life when I was sweating away through university trying to get engineering degrees, I said, someday I'm going to have to move back here next to a university so I can just be around the campus and take all kinds of classes on this other stuff that I don't have time to take right now, because I was trying to take a laser shot into getting an engineering degree and getting out and working in Silicon Valley. But the Silicon Valley was good to me, and I retired, and now I have time, and I make contributions back here and there, but now I have some time left over that I can pursue my own personal studies. Anyway, there's that, and all that's going to circle around, and it's going to inform, because as I mentioned earlier, I'm trying to build a picture, which is what did a professional dentist, J.G. Angell, one of maybe only 300 dentists in the Confederacy, certainly a gentleman and a person of means and property, what did he think, and how did he interpret his world, being a Southerner, fighting in this great epic of the American history, the American Civil War. All right, we'll talk to you later. Bye.